Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. Today we're going to talk about saving pumpkin seeds. First thing you want to do is make sure that the seeds are not cross-pollinated. You don't want to try to save from a F1 or a hybrid type. You want an heirloom or an open pollinator. When you're saving seeds from a pumpkin, first thing is just cut it open, and if you're planning to use it, just scoop the insides out and use the meat. Now this is an Atlantic Giant I grew, and I wanted to save some seeds so I could plant it another year. And what you're going to do is you're just going to go through here and you're going to separate out these seeds. You'll just pick through, and of course there's a lot of seeds, so it depends on how many you want. Now I want to show you something about these seeds here, and I put a couple in here like this one here. Now when they're white like this, they're real thin, they're not filled out, and all the rest of them look different like this. Well, it's naturally, you would know that this one isn't mature enough, so you just take and throw that out. But also, now I leave these pumpkins set so I can make sure the seeds mature. But if you ever been into them after they've set, a lot of times you'll find one that's grown and put out roots, and you can see that here where these are all actually were growing inside. But what you want to do is, and let's go through the process of washing them and everything, but you want to pick out any seeds that are starting to crack open at all. And once we wash these, and we dry them, and then we'll go through and sort them. It's time to start washing these. Now I've rinsed these once, and as you're rinsing them, you're going to find little ones that are growing. There's no sense in hanging on to these. Go ahead and throw them out unless you're wanting to plant some. And being these have set quite a while, I'm going to find quite a few, but I'll get rid of these right off. But when you wash these, what I normally do is I just squeeze these in my hand as I'm running water in here. They're real slimy at first, and as you start getting them pretty clean, getting most of the umbilical cord and the meat from the pumpkin off them, they won't feel so slimy. But I'll do that, and then I run these in a sink, and I leave the plug there in case any runs over my strainer. But what I'll do is I'll strain out all this that's dirty water in there, and I'll repeat the process with these. I'll just do this a few times, and I'll watch for the ones that have roots on them, and I'll throw them out. Like I say, I'll just repeat the process. But you'll catch a lot of that extra debris in there too. What you need to do is just spray it out so you clean it up for the next batch. And then I'll just drain that water out. Get rid of all of that. And then, like I say, I'll repeat the process. Just keep doing this until you get them clean. Now, what I want to mention, I had said you don't want to save the seeds that are white. Now, that's with pumpkin seeds. When you start getting into a lot of squash, a lot of the seeds will all be white. So what you want to look for are the ones that are filled out. You don't want the ones that are real flat, like they haven't completely formed, or that might be noticeably smaller than the rest of the seeds that are in there. So just continue, look for the ones that are bad, so you can throw them out, and I'll continue this for just a little bit longer. Now what I like to do after I've taken and cleaned these as much as I want to, I'll take and strain them just a little bit, make sure they're fairly dry. I like to place them on a towel, and I just like to dry and wipe off any thing that might be left while I'm picking out any that I spot that I know are already bad seeds. But I'll continue to do this until I get most of the moisture, because as you can see, some of these have already started growing. I'll clean up any place that I missed as far as getting the rest of that umbilical cord and any meat that's left on the seed. If I notice one is split, or that there's a root from it, I'll take and go ahead and get that out of there. But this way these seeds won't be wet any longer than they need to. If I see any that looks like they're only part way formed, I'll take those out too. Some that might look good when you was taking them out of the pumpkin, but they're not as good looking once you lay them out and do your closer inspection. But anyway, I'll continue to dry these. Once you get them all pretty dry, what I do is I just use a seed starter tray. Now, some seed saving videos might say spread them out on a paper towel or something like that. I understand these seeds are already trying to grow inside the pumpkin, so what do you think they're going to do if you put them on a paper towel? And it's going to absorb the moisture, and so it's going to keep it there longer. The best way to do these are to put them on a some type of thing. These paper plates work real good. They have the shiny finish. You can write on them what kind of seed they are, especially if you're saving a bunch of different kind that look similar. They don't stick to it and tear up like they do with a paper towel. So use something that's not going to absorb moisture, that's going to give them a chance to dry in a hurry. Now, in my workshop, I have a ceiling fan, and I just lay these under, and periodically I'll come through and I'll just stir them around and spread them back out. That way I make sure that they're all drying evenly. And I'll leave these dry for several days, so I know that the moisture content is really low. Then I'll do a final inspection. At that time, it's easy to see when they dry. You'll see where they split a little bit like they were trying to grow, and you can get those ones out, so you're not saving seed that isn't viable for next year's crop. But this is the way that you can do most of your squash, your winter squash, your summer squash. But make sure that whenever you're going to save seed from a particular type of vegetable, vegetable or fruit, make sure that it's completely ripened. If it's not completely ripened, then you're going to end up with immature seed, and the chances are that you're not going to get very good germination when you use these. I hope this is helpful. If you want to see more of my videos, well, just hit the subscribe button and the bell button so you'll be notified. And be sure to like it if you think it's got content that might help somebody else, or even share it. Happy gardening.